Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone, and we are continuing to talk football, and the latest now from the Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League. Jamaica's top-flight football competition continuing Monday night with a doubleheader at the Anthony Spalding Sports Complex with action from match day 7. The opening encounter between Chapelton Maroons and Waterhouse ended 1-1. The game turned on its head after Waterhouse forward Javane Brand scored a controversial equalising goal. A fracas ensued between Chapelton goalkeeper Prince Faniel and a fan that halted the game. Let's hear now from both camps after the matchup.
I mean, what has gone, so it's not something I really want to comment on again. Worst case, the way things end. I just want to focus on my team, and that's it.
We fought gallantly today. I think we were in control for most part of the game today. I just thought that up front today we are a little bit lackluster, and you know we have a midweek game, so we have to look our recovery going forward. But I thought it was hampered, but you know that is the game.
Meanwhile, the late fixture between promoted Racing United and Vere United also ended in a 1-1 scoreline. Vere United went in front in the 8th minute through an own goal from Siobhan Reid before Ronaldo Biggs secured a share of the points for Racing United. We have the post-match thoughts of the coaches as well.
Yes, it was a plan to take the game to Vere. Got a few chances, but we're not finishing. We're working on the finishing. You notice we included Biggs in the second half. Also, Obi on the left side, trying to look at their weaknesses. And I think we got through and we got a goal from it.
Very exciting game, and I spoke to you before that we won't be waiting in the last 80 or 70 minutes to score a goal. We went on the on time, we got the early goal, and I think we settle the game and we start playing some football. But you know, a spirited performance from the racing team, you know, bring some excitement in the game, some intensity to the game. And as I say, I love how the game ended up. It was a fair, you know, both ways.
Yeah, so 2 1-1 scorelines in the Monday night doubleheader, and Waterhouse with that drawn result, missing the chance to go top of the table. And there are the full results for the weekend of matches. Humberland 1-0 over Malines. Dunbeholden getting their first points of the season in a 1-0 win over Harbourview. Mount Pleasant 1-0 over Tivoli Gardens. No goals between the leaders Montego Bay United and Portmore. Chapelton Maroons, Waterhouse, Racing United, Vere United, the 1-1 scorelines we just spoke of. The Arnett Cavalier game postponed because Cavalier having some CONCACAF Caribbean Club Championship duties. So Montego Bay with their drawn result, still top of the table. Waterhouse missing the opportunity to go ahead, having seen Montego Bay dropping points the previous day, both on 14 points. Montego Bay United just ahead on goal difference though. Portmore, Mount Pleasant, Cavalier and Arnett are the teams occupying places 3 to 6, and the bottom teams at the moment in the relegation spots, Malines United and Dunbeholden. Vere and Humberland, the two teams just outside the playoff positions, but pretty tight going at the top there. Just 2 points separating the top 4 teams and 3 points separating the top 5 teams. Now, the unsettling incident that occurred between Chapelton Maroons, the goalkeeper Prince Faniel, and the opposing fan on Monday night, dominating the headlines. We are now joined on the zone by Owen Hill. He is, of course, CEO of the PFJL, to discuss how his team is treating this incident. Never like to see these things happening in football, Owen, and very, very disturbing scenes at the Tony Spalding Sports Complex last night. As tournament organisers, what's your reaction to what happened on Monday night?
I mean, first, like you said, we are, you know, not in any way, shape or form condoning any kind of behavior that will, you know, call the game into disrepute. We have marketed the league in such a way, and we've put a lot of work, yourself and, you know, a lot of the key stakeholders, to ensure that it's a family-oriented environment. It's a space where it should be safe, fun, easy, and, you know, you get to enjoy, and that the players get to exhibit their skills. So, and an incident like that last night, I mean, I was at the venue and, I was a little appalled at just how it happened and how quickly it spiraled. But cool heads prevailed at some point, and I think, for us, we are appreciative of that. There's a process that generally will take route. So, the match commissioners will provide their own reporting. The referees themselves will also provide their reports. And then it moves into the disciplinary side of the business, where there's a committee that reviews the report and then clear whatever sanctions, if at all any, will be applied based on the principles and the rules that govern the competition.
Yeah, so obviously we'll wait on the process, Owen, but the fact is that the goalkeeper had been penalized with a red card, but he was responding, wasn't he, to an attack on him by a spectator. Well, I know we are still to go through the process of the investigations and so on, but is it in the realm of possibility that a fan can be punished in a significant way? Because if you threw a missile onto the field and hit a player, that is an assault. Is the fan who is guilty likely to face some sanctions here, or possibly face sanctions here?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll not comment further on what will happen, but definitely the rules are very clear. And, sanctions can and will be applied at some point to the actual fan. As far as you will be or may be barred from entering any venue of that sort. The enforcement is important, and what we always speak of is just trying to, be your neighbor's keeper. So if you were the person who would have been driving with this person or, sat beside this person inside the venue, at no point should you be condoning something like this. But definitely, the sanctions are there. The rules are clear, and it's being able to apply those rules to this particular situation. So separate and apart from the player, the fan itself or himself can be and should be penalized. And again, from all indications, it seemed like he was supporting a particular team. So again, you can provide some kind of pressure throughout that mechanism to find out who specifically was this fan and, how you treat with it.
Yeah, because the fact is it was a neutral venue for all the four teams involved, because it's the Arnett Garns home field at Tony Spalding Sports Complex, and they didn't have a match last night. So all of the spectators there, or many of the spectators there, or let me not say that, because Arnett fans could have been there as well, even though Arnett weren't playing. I'm just saying that for the four teams involved, this was a neutral venue for them. So I just want to be clear that the officials have keyed into this fan, and this fan has not escaped the eyes of the organizers and the police as well, because this could be regarded as a criminal matter as well, because it was an assault.
Sure.
It was an assault.
For sure. We take this very seriously, and again, at no point should you be uncomfortable when you're employed to do what you are expected to do, which is play football. And incidents like this brings back into question, just general security measures that are put in place. And here it is again, marring what would have been a very, very good game, a competitive game. You saw where it got heated. And I mean, preliminary reports have suggested that the goalkeeper, he's also from the community area, so I think they may know each other at some point. And again, I'm not trying to get into the speculation side of it, but the rules are very clear, and it's now down to the disciplinary and ethics committee to apply the rules and go the full extent of it, because you want to stamp your impression very early in a situation where this has happened and you don't want for it to happen again for any future occurrence of the league.
Yeah, and you said you were present, so, I don't know how far you were from the incident, but, and were you pleased with how the officials dealt with the situation? I'm speaking about the referee. I saw police presence there, and now, it reiterates the importance of having sufficient police presence at these matches. Were you pleased?
I wouldn't, go on record and say I was 100% pleased. I thought that they did what they could do in the best interest of the sport, given their own limitations, because again, they are limited in just as much as a whistle and, their own authority on the matter. I think what they did, they tried to keep, heads cool in the situation, and for that I give them credit. Referees are pretty much the subject of abuse for quite a lot of games, from whistle one, even before they probably start. So, for you to be a referee, you have to have some really, really tough grit. And I think they've responded well. I mean, not necessarily to the full extent and hard nose, but I think they're growing into the whole thing. And we have seen, over the last couple of months where just referees and incidents with referees, players, fans, etc., is coming to light. So security measures are very much necessary in cases like these, and going forward, again, we are very clear that if you don't have the requisite security in place, the game just won't start. And, it might seem a little hard-handed, but that's just what we have to do.
Yeah, and I know for sure, because we've had many interviews with you, I've attended matches, that, the PFJL have been putting in a lot of work when it comes to sponsorship, getting fans out, even having like 2-for-1 matches, on one ticket to ensure that, the people get the crowd support, and the games that are televised are done so in a very entertaining manner. Based on incidents like this, and I mean, this is just one, and I hope it's the last for the rest of the season, but do you feel sort of demotivated when things like this happen, Owen? Because, I mean, I'm thinking from a personal standpoint, it can deter fans from wanting to even come to the match. Let's just say they have kids, because they feel as if, they might be hurt innocently by just simply attending a match and watching a game, being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
You're absolutely right, Mariah. I mean, I was there. I keep saying that because, I mean, I was deflated. I really was deflated at the end of it, because I was like, wow. There are a lot of people, a lot of stakeholders who put, massive amount of work in just to ensure that the product is elevated and improved to a certain level. So, situations like that where there's just a 1 or 2 person that, has exacerbated the whole thing, it really puts a bad spin on what a good product we have. So while I felt like last night, this morning I got up with a little renewed energy, knowing all too well that we are in a good space, and we're, trying to build this product in such a way that people are comfortable and, it's not feeling hostile or unfriendly, and that there's no negative repercussions that, will affect the venue itself or the team itself, because in instances, these are independent people acting on their own accord.
Yeah.
We really hope that this opportunity is used to leverage what we need to do and, put things in place again. We're going to stress consistently to the clubs that we can't have these situations happening. And if they're your own supporters, you have to take charge, even though you may feel like, they're independent, they're still representing, they're fans of the organization and then by extension the league.
Yeah.
And let alone this was a television game, it just amplified the whole thing to the point where it was negative.
Yeah, and when you look at so many different football matches, and I'm thinking international, Premier League, La Liga, it's never okay when fans, feel necessary to, of course, attack a player, be it verbally or physically. It's never okay, right? And I think we all agree on that. No racial abuse, no physical abuse, none of that. But do the PFJL and, these different clubs, also have sessions with the players where they talk to them and educate them on the fact that, you know, sometimes in certain situations, Owen, even if a spectator is saying things to you. Now, the physical attack is a different thing. I don't know how I would feel if somebody was up in my face and, of course, trying to punch me or something like that. But do you have sessions in place to, of course, you know, speak to these players and let them know that, okay, I understand that it's not okay, but sometimes, you know, in the heat of the moment, it's not always okay to react in an angry manner?
Yeah, we definitely stress the importance of having high emotional intelligence. You are in the situation, and oftentimes your reaction is probably nanoseconds. So what we try to do is to counsel them on what are the possibilities, and also try to deter them from showing them the, you know, the potential sanctions that come through it. They are there as entertainers, but they're also there as workmen. They're plying their trade. So nobody wants to go in a hostile work environment. And, you know, again, sadly, we have that culture in our country when it comes on to football. But we're trying to eradicate that. We're trying to slowly put systems in place. And if we have, you know, more educated players, coaches, fans, and we use the channels that exist, we hope that some kind of positive outcome will happen. As you would have heard while at the venue at different points, the match commissioners, the announcers, those are people who consistently reverberate over the microphones that, you know, we don't condone anything of the sort that is untoward the sport or unsporting-like behavior. And this is just one of the examples. And as you can see it on video, it was just really, really horrible. And it's not something I'm proud of. And I really hope that that person has some kind of, you know, come to Jesus moment, if you want to call it that, to know that you just did something that is totally wrong and that doesn't represent you, your family, the sport, Jamaica, anything at all that we're trying to do.
Yeah, and before you go, CEO, how quickly can we expect a ruling on this? Because I think it has to be addressed as quickly as possible. You don't want this lingering and going, you know, for days and weeks. Is there a timeline on an announcement as to what punitive measures will be decided on?
So I suspect there should be a timeline. I am not the person responsible for, you know, fast tracking that kind of timeline. What I will do is to ensure that advocacy happens and consistently reiterate how important it is for the decision to be made and for it to be publicly known, because incidents like these need to be stamped out, wiped out, eradicated, and this is the only way you can do so. You have to make an example of the first situation so that it reduces the occurrence of a future situation. And we hope through that disciplinary committee, again, totally independent from the PFJL, we hope that they will see this as a very important, I would say, watershed moment again in the 24-25 season, to use this as the opportunity to send some kind of message in a very real way.
Yeah. All right, Owen, thank you very much for talking to us, and we anxiously await a ruling on this because, as I said, the quicker that is announced, I think it would be the best. So it would show that the league itself has zero tolerance for this kind of behavior, and quick action, quick response is needed here. Quite frankly, I don't think this week should end without something significant happening regarding addressing what happened on Monday night. So we are all ears, Owen, and we'll wait to see what happens here. Thanks for talking to us anyway.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your coverage again, consistently helping us to do the good promotion of what the Jamaica Premier League is.
Okay, Owen Hill, PFJL big boss, and it was a contentious goal that triggered this happening. It was very, very difficult to see if the ball crossed the line. As we look here, yeah, very, very hard to see from the angles that we're getting if the ball crossed the line or not. The goalkeeper certainly believed it didn't.
Right.
yeah, this shot isn't going to help us very much because the entire ball has to go over the line for it to be regarded as a goal.
No, well, from this shot, I actually think it went over. Because look at the line there, Lance, and look at where the goalkeeper is inside the line with the ball inside the line. That's what I am seeing. I don't know if you're seeing differently.
Well, it looks that way, but to be conclusive, it's hard if you don't see from the angle of the line, you know, a side-on angle.
Okay.
But it certainly looks that way now that the ball is over the line. But for a conclusive decision, it would be better if we had an angle that was immediately side-on or directly side-on. But I take your point. The optics at the moment.
But then again, you know, I think about situations like this, right, that happens in professional football, and I'm thinking international football. And, you know, sometimes the opposing team is given a hard decision. And, you know, as sad as it is, you have to accept that these things happen in sport and you move on. So that's why I asked a question to Owen about, you know, educating these players, letting them know that, you know, as much as we have things in place to ensure that we have a fair result, nobody wants to feel cheated. But situations occur and you really can't let your anger in that moment get the best of you.
Well, yeah, you have a point, but, you know, to be fair, to put yourself in the player's shoes, Mariah, you don't expect to be hit by something from a fan. You know, you're accustomed to fans hurling verbal insults at you and so on.
And that's still not okay.
No, it's still not okay, but to be physically struck or you know, thrown at with something.
A bottle or something.
Yeah, it is very, very difficult in that moment for a player to not react angrily. So I take the point that, you know, in situations like these, it would be best if the player responds in a calm way, but it's almost unrealistic to expect a player to react calmly in a situation like that. So as I said to Owen just now, I think the PFJL's disciplinary committee has to act very speedily on this, and I think that we shouldn't be waiting too long for something concrete from a punitive standpoint to come out of what happened on Monday night, because a zero tolerance message has to be sent to the fans. Yeah.
All right, wrapping up this one now. Yeah, we're going to wrap up this segment and go to a quick break.